Okay, hello again, everybody. We're back. Me and PharaohHazard here. Another day, another movie. So we're like sort of in between franchises now, I guess you could say. So we're just reviewing some things we like. I know this is a film you really like, The Last of the Mohicans,
Yes.
1992. Yeah, so this is a really cool movie. So I guess at some point they decided, hey, let's do a remake of this movie. There was a film that came out in like 1936.
Yeah, with Lon Chaney Jr., I believe, in
Okay,
like
cool.
the raccoon hat. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he
yeah.
was
The
wearing.
raccoon hat, kind of like Davy Crockett kind of stuff or something.
Oy vey.
And so then Michael Mann decided, hey, well, you
Michael
know,
fucking Man.
Michael fucking Mann. He was like, yeah, I like this stuff. Like instead of doing heist movies or these cop,
Manhunter.
yeah, Manhunter, which is a cool movie.
It's awful.
Yeah, that's the Hannibal Lecter that not a lot of people talk about. I feel like almost every other one, people are like TV show.
I never see
Yeah.
Brian Cox listed as
No.
people's like Hannibal Lecter, and I think it might be because people might not know, unless you've read the books and stuff like that. People might not know that Manhunter is in the franchise. He's just not the main. Brian Cox is my favorite Hannibal Lecter. Like Anthony Hopkins is good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's creepy. He's weird. But like Brian Cox is just he's just fantastic in that movie. He's because he's not the super villain kind of thing. Because when I watch Silence of the Lambs, I get a super villain vibe from Hannibal Lecter. But like Brian Cox is just like, yeah, he's just there. He's just freaking there, and he's my favorite personally for the little screen time that he has.
Yeah, yeah. And what's funny too is they did basically remake that movie later with Anthony Hopkins. And I don't know if it's I kind of like some aspects of that film, but it's interesting seeing the two, Manhunter and what was that one? The
Red Dragon?
Yeah, Red Dragon. Mm-hmm.
I actually haven't seen Red Dragon. I like Silence of the Lambs and I like Manhunter. I don't really. Oh, I saw Hannibal Rising. That wasn't very good.
Oh, Hannibal Rising. Yeah, that's the other one that people don't talk about.
It's not very good. It's not very good.
But the TV show has a very the fandom is rabid. Like, I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I know my brother, who has seen all the movies and read all the books, has very strong opinions about Hannibal Rising.
Yeah. It was just a cash grab. Like, let's be honest. They're like, oh, well, let's just do a prequel.
Prequels were getting very popular at the time. The franchise hadn't really done anything since. Did anything come after Red Dragon and between that and Hannibal Rising? I feel like there wasn't.
I don't think so. I'd have to look at the timeline. The show might be somewhere in that time, but I don't. Yeah, because the show is the only other thing, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael Mann is great.
Yeah, I love his movie Thief. I watched that maybe last year.
Oh, I keep meaning to see that. Because I love Michael Mann stuff. Heat is one of my favorite freaking movies of all time. Like a lot of his movies are my favorite. Like even the one about John Dillinger, Public Enemy. I don't hate that movie. I don't hate it.
I don't. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like basically kind of the way they shot the movie. Like they shot it with like digital cameras and it looks very kind of, I don't know. Doesn't look great.
Yeah, not a lot of people like gangster movies either, and they're not really that popular anymore.
Yeah,
drug dealer movies and stuff like that. And I'm watching Narcos right now, and I'm just like, oh my.
Narcos is insane. Like Narcos is totally insane.
It's very scary.
Some of the best intro music ever too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you hear that once, you're like, oh, this is. I'm always gonna have this in my head when I think about this genre. Really, honestly.
For sure, absolutely. But yeah, I like the majority of Michael Mann movies that I've seen, and I like that he doesn't always do the same thing twice. Heist, yeah, he's kind of got a reputation for that, or just criminal underground films in general. Criminal. He has a very good. I think he just has a very good eye for it. But I feel like Last of the Mohicans really stands out just because it feels like a great departure.
Yeah. All right, cool. So this movie came out in 1992. So starring the great Daniel Day-Lewis, see, Madeleine Stowe is in it. Russell Means is in it, and Wes Studi is in it, and
Wes
some other
Studi. Sorry.
who's like he's really cool. I like movies like this because like there's a lot of great Native American actors, and they just it's unfortunate because like they don't get other roles and other stuff, but they're like in movies like this you get to see basically all of them effectively.
And they're very good actors.
Yeah, they're very good.
All of these guys.
Yeah, so this film takes place in 1757, and it's like this is the third year of a war between. So, the United States doesn't even exist, right?
It is not a thing.
We Americans were British people, happily, proudly.
They're the colonists, the colonials, if you will.
I remember seeing this thing like in some history class, and they did this like reenactment, and then it was like they're reenacting. So they had an actor playing a guy who like met the king, and he was like, "Oh my god, I saw the throne! It was so amazing," stuff like that. Which is kind of funny because like now today we're like the what?
So
what? We don't do that.
No,
anymore.
We don't pay homage.
No, we don't. We have different kinds of royalty. They're called Kennedys, okay?
Or Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you've heard of them, but Kim fucking Kardashian.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one is better or worse.
I feel like we have like super. Okay, we have like Eddie Izzard had this great bit about like the different levels of something, but he's like, I'm an executive transvestite. His words, by the way. And then she had different levels and things like that. I feel like we have executive celebrity royalty, and then we have like low key celebrity royalty. And I would say like, I feel like that would be like Russell Crowe, Goldie Hawn, because they've been together like forever and they've been acting forever. And I feel like we have different levels of like celebrity royalty, but we have a weird obsession with like actual royalty, if that makes any sense. Or maybe it's just me. It could totally just be me.
No, there is.
Because it's weird.
There is. I mean, what's funny too is like the Harry Meghan Markle thing. They kind of traded one in for the other.
I don't know that. I'm just like,
you're so
like you just adopt. I mean, I think they're living in Canada, which is still in the Commonwealth, I believe.
Yeah, it is in the Commonwealth. Yeah, it is.
It's like Canada's like top tier Commonwealth, guys. Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So they're still in the empire. I mean, you can never get rid of it, right? Like
you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah, you can never leave.
Also, I think it's interesting that he's publishing his memoirs after his grandmother died, because that shit was waiting for her to die.
Probably, yeah.
I know way too much about these people.
I saw this really crazy meme, or at least I think it was a meme where it was like, "Oh, read this excerpt from Harry's book," and it was just like, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was something like I don't know. It had something to do with drugs or something like that, and I don't know. I forget exactly what it was, but I was like, I read it, I was like, this is fake. This has to be fake. But I don't know, because like
I actually wouldn't be that surprised. I actually would not be that surprised. But that's also this is also the same kid who dressed up as a brown shirt, so let's not be too surprised by some of the shit he might put in his book.
Yeah, no, he did some crazy. I mean, he actually served too in Afghanistan. And then they released some video of him saying things or whatever. Because like when you're I don't know how old he was, 18 or 20-year-old British kid with other British people, and they were saying some like derogatory stuff about people. But anyway. So yeah, he's lived a life. He was the party boy.
Oh, he was a spare, so
yeah, the second son syndrome.
Yeah, second son. I think his memoir is even called The Spare. I think it's called The Spare.
That would be perfect.
Because there's the heir and the spare thing. And if you get a couple more in there, that's fine, but we don't really care. They're the B team.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in case of a plane crash.
Oh my god.
I'm serious. I mean, listen.
I know. That's the scary thing.
The day music died or whatever, what they call that thing where it was like the greatest rock musicians were all on a plane and they all died when a plane crashed. It's like, how the hell did that happen? Well,
that was one with Buddy Holly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sad. That's awful.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, so this is the British and the French are fighting war for possession of the continent, and some other stuff is happening. And so then at the beginning of the film, we see Hawkeye. We see Hawkeye. He's running through the forest, and he's
he is.
he's like looking for something. He's like, and then we see him joined by, what is it, Chingachgook, and Unkas. And they're all running. They're hunting this deer, and then he sharpshoots this deer.
Which is very impressive for how fast a deer can actually run.
I mean, it's also impressive because these guns are not accurate.
Oh God, no, they're not at all. You have to be very committed and very good at what you do. I think Daniel Day-Lewis lived in the woods for a while and actually trained to learn how to use the musket, clean the musket, load the musket, and even he didn't get nearly as fast as the best sharpshooter with a period correct musket. But it's a movie. We're supposed to think he's the shit from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I always do, so.
Yeah. We get the great music at the beginning, too. We see all the, what do you call it, promontory? Or
the promontory.
The promontory.
Yeah,
sound.
I
don't know who dug up that song, because that's an Irish song, right?
The Gale?
Yeah, the Gale.
It's either Irish or it's Scottish. I want to say it's Scottish.
Maybe Scottish, yeah.
It could be. But I'm actually not a fucking motorcycle. It's like 70 degrees here in November, so everyone hasn't put their motorcycles away yet. And I hate it. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Scottish or Irish. I want to say it's Scottish.
Yeah.
I think I'm right. I'm open to being wrong. But no, it's
cool. It's an amazing song.
It's beautiful music. You have just literally these shots of these landscapes. The cinematographer, I forget his name, but oh my God, it's so beautiful. It is just the most. They found such beautiful places to film to really bring you back into that frontier feel. Just the way when I watch Dances with Wolves, it feels this is untouched, unsoiled land.
Yeah.
That
it's the frontier. It's the
frontier, and it really painting or getting a really good backdrop for your film really helps your audience immerse themselves even more, and it's just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
So the cinematographer was Dante Spinotti.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they did a great job, especially because that's kind of what the character is supposed to evoke, is this sense of the frontier and this the rugged man,
man of the wilderness, lives off the land, and
another person who has a foot in two worlds kind of thing. That's generally another thing that they like to to do, a very common trope. And this guy is the original Hawkeye. Before there was some guy with a bow or whatever. There was this guy with a long gun.
I think the tagline on the poster was "the first American hero," and I was like, "Hey, we're an American yet." I
know, yeah. He's but he they do show some things that you can kind of get why, there's a scene coming up we'll talk about where it's oh, I now I understand. He's got that
country.
Yeah, he's got that rugged. The Jared Harris,
man. Jared Harris. He is iconic.
You are subjects of the king, and we're I'm not a subject to anybody, bro.
Yeah, my brother Mike does the best Jared Harris impression of this character. And then when I saw him in Mad Men, I'm like, why does that voice sound really familiar?
He's back,
and it's not because his dad was I almost said Ed Harris, Richard Harris. God. Ed Harris and Jared Harris are not related as far as I know. Richard Harris. It wasn't because of that. I was like, I know that voice. For king, for country.
Yeah. For king, for country. You're a subject of the crown. It's I'm not a subject of anything.
I don't call myself subject to much at all.
This is years before.
I will be quoting this movie. I hope you are ready for this.
Oh, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm totally ready. So basically the plot really kind of starts when this British Army Major, Mr. Duncan Hayward, he arrives in Albany, New York.
Fucking swoon.
And, the French war is going on. Yeah, this is a fun love story, isn't it, too?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say fun, but it is.
It's tragic, right?
It's like, oh god, we'll get to it.
It's tragic. And so basically, so he's assigned to Colonel Edmund Monroe's command in Fort William Henry, out in the mountains. So he's supposed to go to the mountains while escorting his two daughters, so Cora and Alice. Supposed to take them to their father. It's like, okay, that sounds cool.
Sounds easy enough. Cool.
And so,
let me get my Waze app out. Do you guys got Waze here?
Yeah. Well, they have a different kind of Waze.
Yeah, they do. Interesting. Oh my god, can I just?
Yeah.
This fucking guy. What is his name? Webb. General Webb, Colonel Webb, one of those. What an ignorant fucking Ramus. Oh my, I don't know who the actual guy was in real life who was in charge of this shit. But what an ignorant fucking Ramus. Like, it just goes to show this is their mindset, not mine, that they think every Native American looks exactly the same.
Yeah, they
that he can't even tell that Magua is not who he's saying he is. Because he's not taking the time or even the minimal bare minimum to learn who these people are. And it's just, and the British were very ignorant of that. The hubris was, and that's why the French were winning for a while.
Yeah, the French were good at making alliances.
They were very good because they would actually absorb them or involve themselves in their culture. Not all of them. I'm not saying all of them were. I'm sure there were many. In fact, there were many French people who were very ignorant as well of the Native Americans. But they realized, the French at least realized, that these are better allies than enemies. And hey, let's use that to our advantage.
Yeah. Magua has a grudge.
Yeah, he does.
He has a reason for wanting to be on this mission. He's like, oh yeah, I'll absolutely escort you.
And Magua will show you the way.
Yeah, Magua will show you.
The French would rather eat and make love with their faces than fight. What an asshole. It's like, yeah, they're kicking your ass doing it too, bro.
Yeah. And so then before they leave, Hayward kind of asks Cora to marry him, but she's like, oh, I need more time.
Oh, can I just, again, the wide shots in this movie.
Yeah, they're great.
Like when he's going over the bridge in the carriage and you see the water and the bridge and it's just like oh my God. Or like when they're having tea and it's just this beautiful wide shot. I can't like this movie. I literally want to marry this movie. Like I'm in love with this movie.
Yeah. And that's what's like, again, what's cool about doing these kind of period piece movies is like you want to feel the time period, you know? Like that's just as much the environment and the time as much the selling point as is anything else, the actors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this movie has like all of it. It has great actors. It has a great story. It has great direction.
This movie has a lot going on in it too. Like there is so much going. Not only do you have the backdrop of war, Michael Mann manages to squeeze a love triangle in there too and makes it work.
Yeah. Like, and it's not like a love story like Star Wars or something, like the prequels, where there's a love story and you're like, this is like, no, girl, you need to run. This dude's crazy.
No, and like it's just we'll get to it. I know I'm skipping ahead. I know I'm sorry because I just love this movie so much, but like it's just this is why every time I watch it, I find a new thing to appreciate about it.
Yeah. Totally.
Because there's so much that is packed into almost 2 hours, and it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So Magua is escorting these men. So it's like, Hayward, Cora and Alice, a troop of soldiers. They're like being escorted to the fort, and they get jumped. They get ambushed straight up in the middle of, basically the wilderness.
I don't know if you noticed it, but right before Magua kills the first guy, the guy's smiling at him. He's like giving him like, "Hey, bro."
Yeah, like we got this, right? Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah. And you know what? Why wouldn't they have a reason to trust him? Magua's gonna show him the way. Oh, and I love how he just like he speaks Huron in front of Duncan, and Duncan's like, "What'd you say? I don't know. I don't speak that." Or whatever. He's like, Magua understands English very well.
Yeah. They're just so it just shows that their ignorance is like.
Meanwhile, Magua can speak Huron, his native tongue, and French.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting, Duncan. But he's the savage. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean he likes to play the savage because then he can get what he wants, basically, which is revenge.
It is. Oh, and they fit a revenge plot in there too. It's like,
yeah.
But yeah,
no, Magua, like, they do a good job of like explaining. No, he's pissed off for a reason. He's not just
he has
like,
his reasons. He's very compelling.
And on a certain level, you know, the audience on a certain level could be like, yeah, I kind of want them all to die. I kind of want some of these people to die who are good guys, right?
Yeah, good guys.
The good guys. I kind of want some of the good guys to die.
Yeah, the people who can't even take the time to learn what tribe he's from or what language he's speaking.
Yeah.
But yet he can speak 3 languages and dance circles around them.
Yeah, and he's got all these weapons.
And he's a warrior, and he's a tracker. And he's a guide. I mean, yeah, he's pretending to be one, but he knows where he's going.
Yeah, he knows exactly where he's going.
Yeah, he's a survivor too. He's a survivor. He knows what he needs to do to survive. And I think he's a very compelling. I wouldn't even. I guess in movie terms, you'd call him a villain, but very compelling character.
Yeah, I mean, he basically has to be the villain. What really makes him a villain, I think, is sort of really the ending. Like a lot of other stuff, you can kind of say, okay, he sort of has a point of view. Then he does something that I think the audience would be like, okay, that really sucks.
He followed through. Which he does a lot of.
He also, like, you know, again, there are 2 things that happen at that ending that happen like sort of back to back, where you're like, okay, now I really don't like this dude at all. Before he's just kind of making his case about. I mean, it's also kind of like his the thing that he wants. When we find out what he wants, you're like, okay, that's pretty dark.
He's not really gonna do that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty dark what he actually wants to do.
I wonder if Wes Studi ever looked at Michael Mann and was like, well, I'm really gonna do this, am I? And he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it, and you're gonna look amazing doing it.
Yeah. So, I mean that's kind of the thing about it. So they're getting attacked, and so then the Mohicans show up, and Hawkeye, and so they're fighting them off, and they basically save not everybody, but you know, our basically our main
important characters are saved. Yes,
the 2 women and Duncan.
Duncan ain't no slouch. He's doing the thing. He's doing the damn thing.
He is doing the thing. So basically, they escape, but Magua and the Hurons like kill basically everybody else. So they got him. They massacred him. And like we see dudes getting scalped and stuff. It's like really.
It's rough.
It's really It's really.
I showed several scenes of this movie in a film project I did in high school. This scene was one of them, and when I had my teacher proof it, basically he was like, you got to take out the scalping. I'm like, why? He's like, because it's school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then I feel like I'm lying about what the scene is, about how brutal the scene is. And he's like, that's nice, I'm gonna give you a good grade on it, but you need to take out that scene. I'm like, fine. But
yeah, but that's what's cool. Like it showed, like that's what happened.
I think I made a compelling argument, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's what happened. So the trio agrees to take the women and Hayward to the fort, and so they're like in the woods tracking their way around with these 2 women. What's her name? I think was it Alice?
Jody May.
No, Cora. Cora, like yeah, Cora like grabs a gun from somebody.
Yeah, she does. She ain't fucking around. She's like, okay,
she grabs a gun.
Shit's getting real. My horse is gone. My escorts are dead, and my sister's having a nervous fucking breakdown, and so am I. But I got a gun.
Yeah,
she didn't know it was loaded though. I don't know if she knew if it was loaded or not, but she grabbed it.
Well, she gets an opportunity to use it, and she
does.
She gets an opportunity, and she doesn't hesitate.
No.
So Duncan is like to Hawkeye, like, okay, whose side are you on, basically? Like, are you a militia? Are you a scout? Are you with the French? He's like, no, I'm not. And again, this is the kind of American, that rugged individualism. Like, I'm not on anyone's side. I'm sure not a militia. Like,
oh yeah, you could have replaced him with Mel Gibson, and the fucking dialogue would have been the same.
The Patriot, it kind of,
yeah, for sure.
Didn't that come around the same time?
Like a decade later.
Oh, okay, that was in the 2000s. Yeah, okay. So during their trek, they find another massacre on a farm. It's like farmstead, and like everybody's dead. Everyone got killed. Everyone got attacked. And so basically, they surmise, okay, there's this like roving war party of people just attacking and moving on because no one's buried or no one's, they didn't take a lot. And Cora's like, hey, we have to bury them. We have to give them a with the proper Christian burial. He's like, no, can't do that. Sorry, because we can't alert people to our presence. We, So,
yeah, it's already dangerous enough that they stumbled across it. They could still be in the area because it's still pretty fresh because the fire is still going, and rigor mortis does not appear to have set in. But yeah, this was a family that Hawkeye was like traded with and were buddies with, and they were going to give shelter to other homesteaders who might need it if they were attacked.
Yeah. And this is another one of the classic Western tropes, the frontier. I mean, there's I forget. I think it's called Hostiles. It's a really great movie. That movie basically starts with a frontier like little settlement being attacked by people, and I was the searchers. They get attacked, and one of their kids gets taken, and then they go on like, I don't know, a half-decade long journey to go and find her. So this is another kind of classic trope of the
it's also just highlighting like the danger that they're in, and that no one is safe. They're going to kill your women and your children and everybody, and it's just, unfortunately, they do know that. I mean, or fortunately, they know the risks of being out there and having no support. You're on your own. Yeah. And that lifestyle really appeals to a lot of people, even to today. I grew up in the middle of nowhere the majority of my childhood, where if you needed to call 911, you were probably going to die waiting for an ambulance.
Yeah, you would call and then you grab your gun.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, pretty much. Katie, get the kids in the car.
Yeah, right.
Because if one's going to the hospital, we're all going to the hospital. No one's staying at home by themselves.
Yeah. So, Cora and Hawkeye start sort of having this thing. They start chatting it up at night because they're like trying to sneak around, and like, there's hella people. So she's like starts asking him about himself and his family, and he's like, oh, my mother, sister, and father, they're all dead. And Chingachgook found me with 2 French trappers, and then they raised me. So he's like a French guy.
Yeah.
And they, or something. We don't really know who. Like, he could.
Nathaniel's a pretty British name. He was probably just like frontiers people or homesteaders.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably just like the thing that we just saw where they.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably why it's a lot more traumatizing for him. Finding the Camerons, who are not only his friends and who he cared about, and who were very much, he saw a future similar for himself. Just living off the land, having a little cabin, having some kids and stuff like that, and then you find it burned to the fucking ground. And that'll probably bring up some childhood trauma.
Yeah, because that basically is like your situation. Yeah. So and so he was raised with them, which is kind of, again, he's got this kind of foot step into worlds, but he was also like educated by some Christian missionaries or something like that.
Yeah, Chingachgook wanted Nathaniel, Hawkeye, and Uncas to at least be able to be literate, and be able to exist in both worlds more easily for Hawkeye than it would have been for Uncas. But I think he just wanted them to have. He valued education.
Yeah.
That's what a good dad does, man.
Totally, yeah. So they come upon the fort finally, Fort William Henry, and it's under siege by the French, and also Huron and their allies. So, but they're like they somehow sneak in, right? They
They
get
get
into
on
this
a
fort.
boat and they have to go
Yeah.
across the water. I think they have
Yeah.
to go around it because the battle's like right on the front fucking door, and they're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. So we can't go that way. We got to go in the back way.
pretty much.
Yeah. And so Colonel Monroe, he's there and he's like surprised to see his daughter. He's like, I sent a letter warning you not to come. And I told you to stay. But what happened? Well, Mongwa got the letter.
I think that's when it finally hits him. Like, fuck.
Yeah, the guy you trusted was out to kill you, and like he has no idea. Like that's the other part too. That's so great. He has no idea that this guy, whose life he ruined, he doesn't even see him as a human being.
No, he doesn't.
And he's like about to ruin his shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure if he actually sent Magua himself or Magua just intercepted his couriers.
Yeah.
And was just like, oh, my opportunity has arisen. It's kind of vague. I always assumed Magua just murdered the couriers. Hey, don't kick me. But either way, yeah, he is fucking with Monroe. And the thing is, Monroe wouldn't even remember him.
No.
Or know who he was.
I mean, he's too lowly of a person. He's just another faceless, nameless guy whose life he's affected. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, and he doesn't even see it that he affected his life in any way because it's not even on his radar. Like I think Monroe is probably, his character is probably a good leader. He's in the position he's in for a reason, but he's a freaking aristocrat. He doesn't care. He's a Scottish aristocrat.
Yeah.
That's it.
Totally.
Like,
oh,
sorry, there was a bug.
Yeah, it's all good.
Magua is not on his radar.
No, but Magua is on. He's on Magua's radar, big time. So basically, then we see, okay, what was the machination of Magua's plan? All right, so he made an alliance with the French, and with the intention of like getting them killed, getting like it was specifically killing Colonel Monroe, and he explains like. It's funny. It's always like, why does Magua hate the gray hair? Well, basically he's like, and first off, he's like, when he dies, I want to eat his heart. I want to eat his heart, and before he dies, I want him to see his children get knifed by me, so that he knows that his seed is gone forever. Magua hates the colonel. It's like, okay, that's really strong. That's a really strong hatred there. You want to eat his heart and kill his children in front of him.
Yeah, but the Marquis is not phased by it either.
No, he's not.
At all. He is very much like respect. Like he pissed you off, he ruined your life. Respect, bro. But I have things I need to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a scene coming up that is just like, I can't do anything. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
yeah. The other thing too is like I remember there's another scene, speaking of the British and their kind of ignorance, like they talk about the French, like, oh, the French, they're so savage and they're like basically they're like horny and violent. That's what
they'd rather eat and make love with their faces than fight. And it's like,
yeah.
I don't know if I really want to go there, bro. Like, I feel like in a few decades, Napoleon's going to kick the shit out of you. So,
yeah, it's not going to look.
No, they're very ignorant. The English and the French at this time period there's no love lost there. They're
in a massive feud with each other.
They're going to stay in a massive feud for a very long time, and it's also like you have to remember, like, as well, the Georgian period is going on in England during this time, and it was all about excess a lot of the time, depending on which king was in charge, and an abundance of just I don't want to keep saying the word ignorance. I want to find a better word for that, but it's just an abundance of this is mine, that's not yours. I want everything. Just like taking everything, building this massive, massive empire that would eventually culminate with Queen Victoria, and it's half the freaking globe.
Yeah.
I think hubris is a better word for it. There's just a massive amount of hubris. It's like, we couldn't possibly be defeated by the French. Them. It's like,
the French and their allies who are Native Americans.
It's just like,
and these colonists are mad. Well, I'm going to tax them more.
Why are the colonists so mad?
Yeah, it's funny. So then in the fourth, they're like, okay, we got to do something. We got to call for help or something like that. So they sent out this militiaman to kind of get word out. And so Hawkeye and Unkas are like basically sniping people. And I like this too because like so they're covering fire for this guy, and this is like this is like better than anything you'll see any sniper ever do. If this was ever possible, if this ever because like shooting a gun like that at that range accurately
at night,
like yeah.
Or at dawn, whenever it's taking place, dusk or dawn, like your visibility is already crap.
Your visibility is zero.
It's like I know my guy is wearing a white shirt.
Yeah. I see another thing moving. I'm gonna just shoot at it.
No, literally, you see another thing moving, shoot the thing that's moving, and they're just handing him musket after musket, and then you see like the camera pans down the length of the musket. It's just
yeah. It's a long gun.
Yeah, they're showing his skill, and he's the man for the job.
Yeah, they sniped like 5 people
without a scope.
Yeah, no scope.
That I believe could probably be possible. Maybe not at the same range, because the range is pretty far. He's also shooting, I'm assuming, over the water, too. And the wind has to be perfect. The elements have to be perfect, because, again, those guns weren't 100% accurate. So, creative license, but not totally impossible. Ellie, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Are you going to get a job?
So basically, the militiaman gets away, but they're still like, okay, they're like, hey, by the way, when we arrived here, there was a settlement that got attacked and people got killed.
And assurances were made. Let us go. Which
you're going to let us go.
On this part, I would say the militia are being very stupid. You really think they were just going to let you go home? You are a militia. Like, you work for them now. Like, yeah. But I get why.
This is a very well-regulated militia. Let's put it
we have to fan the flames of what will become the War of Independence. Mm-hmm. This is where it's going to start with these guys, I guess.
Yeah, and it's going to start very soon.
Yeah, it's going to start a lot sooner than you think.
I mean, and it's almost, kind of like this. This is what's fomenting it, and then the tax situation makes it worse. And then also, what was the thing that happened? It was like it wasn't the Boston Massacre, but it was something else. Some British people shot somebody.
I think it was probably the Boston Massacre.
Yeah, maybe
there was a lot of massacres that were going on.
Yeah,
though, so.
Yeah, and then there was the tea dumping. Like, could you imagine
the Boston Tea Party?
Yeah, just like some people were just like, I'm mad. I'm gonna go dump some tea out of this boat.
It pissed them off, didn't it?
Yeah, they were angry. So, but yeah, and they're talking about like, hey, if you keep talking like this is sedition, this is treason, and we'll have you killed,
beaten from this fort.
Yeah, beaten.
What an asshole too, and he lies because he's just like, no, we saw the settlement attacked. Duncan Hayward's an honorable man; he'll tell the truth.
He does the political thing, and he
does the political thing. He's playing the game.
No, I didn't say anything. How dare you say that? You swarthy man.
Gotta love Duncan though. I still love his character.
Yeah, I mean he's a major. He's trying to move up. It's
not even just that. He's duty bound too. He doesn't have any loyalty to Hawkeye. He's like, yeah, you saved my life and that's cool, bro. But like, I got shit I need to do. Like, just like he has shit he needs to do. And he's he's obviously jealous because he can see what's going on between Cora and Hawkeye.
Like, there's more stuff about this marriage, and she's just like, I can't accept it. And he's like, Rrr.
You're a brother to me. I hope we can be friends. It's not you, it's me. I think our lives are just going in different directions.
Yeah.
She basically pulls out all of them. So
yeah, she did. Yeah. I mean, tale as old as time. We're just meant to be friends.
We're two ships passing in the night.
Two ships passing in the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hawkeye kind of helps him slip away. And then she hooks up with Hawkeye, basically. They have this passionate embrace in the night. I mean, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, hey, we got fire. We were probably gonna die in the next couple of days.
It's not good.
I
Like
think
they're surrounded by the French. And
they're
like,
literally surrounded. And like even Monroe is just like, yeah, they're digging like X amount of yards a day. They're just getting closer and closer and closer, and it's a slow process, but those guys can dig pretty fast.
Yeah.
And not only
And it's
that, but he even
inevitable.
says like his guns are bigger than mine. His army is more well funded. They're probably getting more rest because they're not being bombarded like the English are, and they can afford to risk bringing reinforcements in. So Monroe's pretty much backed into a corner.
He is backed into a corner. So yeah, the next morning they decide they're gonna arrest Hawkeye for sedition and hang him. And Cora's pissed. They're like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Don't do it." It's like if he's guilty of sedition, so am I. Blah blah blah.
You gonna hang me too, Dad?
Yeah.
Really, exactly. You're not gonna hang me, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, nah, you wouldn't do that.
There's a different fate that's for her.
That's just. I love that this movie can show how complex people can be. It's like, yeah, Monroe's ignorant and he's an aristocrat and he's an asshole, but he also really loves his kids and he would risk everything to keep them safe. Like, he's not happy they're there. Like, this is the last place I need you to be right now. Because, oh, great, now I have to worry about the French and like kicking my ass, and now my kids are here too.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. It makes it even worse.
Because if the walls come down and the enemy comes in, they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead.
So, and Duncan is very similar in all of the negative sides, but he's also very honorable. And he also is just tragic.
Yeah, it is tragic.
But yeah, sorry.
So then the next day they have this little détente, I guess, as it were, where the two, highest ranking officers meet. They're like, "Oh, we intercepted your dispatch. You're not getting any," which is always kind of weird. It's like, wait, okay, so you intercepted this, and you say that I'm not getting any reinforcements. Like, how am I supposed to trust that?
Honor.
But, yeah, right. Yeah, it's supposed
because
to,
the Marquis is an honorable dude, and he's giving Monroe the respect of not blasting him into smithereens. He's willing to negotiate terms. So I think that in that time period, yeah, the Marquis could have just been bullshitting him, but for who he was as a real person, it's very realistic.
Yeah, and so basically he's like, okay, if you surrender, you guys can leave. And we'll, we won't kill you. And we're gonna take all this territory. But you have to surrender. And the guy's like, yeah, we're going to honorably surrender. Monroe's like, yeah, we will honorably surrender because we are going to lose this fight.
Yeah, he knows. The camera like pans over from his point of view. His men are tired. They're wounded. They have fucking more civilians probably than they have soldiers. And he's just like, I think he has this really great line where he's like, I used to think death and honor were the same, and they're not.
Yeah.
And he takes the loss, but he's taking the high ground too, because even the Marquis is just like, don't make me do this.
Don't
this isn't gonna end well for you. You don't need to make this last stand. Like, you can go and no one is gonna bother you, basically. So
yeah. So a lot of people are happy about this, but one person's really fucking pissed about this. That's Magua. He's like, what? You did what? No, we need to kill them all. And like you said, he's like, oh, I can't. My orders, they came from higher up.
My hands are bound, bro. Wink, wink.
But
nudge.
They're going this way, and when they go that way, you can maybe stay in the bush and attack.
They're going off into the wilderness. Who knows what could happen there? That's the thing about the fucking monkey. He's just like, I'm just opening this door. I'm gonna leave it open.
And you can walk right through it.
You can walk right through it, or you can just double back, go home. But the door is gonna be open. I'm just gonna, try and rebuild this fort. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I don't know what you're gonna be doing, but
Yeah. They're playing the game.
They are. The subtext is just the subtext is like gravy all over mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Because Magua, then he spells it out. He's like, okay, Colonel Monroe destroyed my life. He destroyed my village. He burned it down. He killed my children. And then I was taken as a slave by the Mohawks, and my wife married someone else because she thought I was dead. And
this
it's like,
yeah.
it's like,
He's
fuck that guy.
he's understandably pissed the fuck
Pissed
off.
off. Yeah.
He is understandably pissed off. And you know what? In any other story, this is a hero's origin.
Yeah.
This is a hero's origin, which is very interesting when you think about. See, I never even thought about that until just now, and this is why I love this freaking movies, because it just so good.
Yeah, it is. The only thing, like if he was a like hero, like because a part of what he wants to do is kill the kids too.
Well, yeah, obviously that's not cool, bro.
Now, what, like in the hero origin, I guess what you could say is like he's going to get revenge, and then there's like a love plot that like heals his anger.
Yeah,
and so
or he sees the guy.
He sees the humanity.
He sees the humanity. Yeah.
So like the hero story would be like he's gonna kill one of them, but then he like imagines his daughter. Like let's say he had a daughter. He imagines his daughter, and then he sees, like Alice or Cora, and he's like, I can't do it because, someone killed my daughter. I want to kill another daughter, but I'm still
exactly. I'm so mad at you though.
Yeah. but again, it's like you said, it's very similar. This is just like what could be a hero story. Like he was turned into a slave. His family was killed. His wife married someone else. Like, this dude should be really mad.
Yeah, he has every right to be mad. His identity was stripped away. He's forced to, work with and become a Mohawk, but in his heart, he was always Huron.
Yeah, in his heart, always Huron. Yeah,
a
warrior.
Yeah.
So, all right. So they surrendered. They're going to leave the fort. The civilians are leaving, and they have to take this path. And guess what happens? They get ambushed again.
Can you just imagine being tired? You have very few weapons. You think you're in the home stretch, and then you just hear that war call everywhere.
Yeah.
And how terrifying that must have been.
What's even crazier is like some people just like attack out of nowhere. Like, and it's just like, oh, there's a dude with a tomahawk, and he just gets killed. And then he kills the guy and then runs away.
They take advantage of the panic. They take advantage of the panic immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just one shot goes, pew, pew, and everyone's kind of looking around. It's like this herd mentality, and then it's just like it's a freaking slaughter. I think this event, this scene is actually based on a real massacre that happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because a lot of this is like taking historical like events and people and then putting in these characters, these different characters that didn't exist, but
I think Monroe was based on a real person. The Maquis was definitely a real person, and then everyone else is just kind of they could have existed and this is what they might have been like, kind of a thing.
Exactly. We're just kind of approximating because again, Hawkeye, first American hero, as it were.
And I think actually it was based on a book originally by James Fenimore Cooper, who I think was like someone bet him to write the greatest adventure story ever written. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let me get my ink and quill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
he penned this one.
Yeah.
So so they get attacked, and it's again another massacre.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are getting killed. So Hawkeye gets freed, and then the trio help Alice and Cora and Duncan basically escape. So they're getting out of there while everyone else is getting killed, or at least there's a fight. I mean, they seem to be outnumbered, but I don't know, not a fight I'd want to be in.
It's a pretty one-sided fight.
Yeah, it's a pretty one-sided fight.
I mean, the British are doing the best they can with what they've got, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot.
Because they've been fighting the French for however long, weeks.
Yeah.
Lost that battle, and now they're fighting the Huron.
The morale is not there.
Ambushed, yeah.
And oh my god, that moment when like that guy's coming at Cora now, because Alice is like, poor Alice, she's pretty much useless throughout the whole movie, but she's there to to be a damsel. I get it. Jodie May is bae. I love Jodie May. Queen, what's her name in The Witcher? But she's pretty much just there to do laundry. So I do love that moment when Cora finally uses the musket the pistol that she's had, and she's like, that guy's coming out, and she's like, oh fuck no. Because I got one shot and I'm gonna make it count. And the slow motion of Hawkeye like running through like this, it's so dramatic. But like the music rises and he's just like, bam bam, thank you ma'am. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. So they somehow escape. They get in these boats and they're rowing. They come to a waterfall, so they hide in a waterfall. And they're hiding. And the other thing too is we get this whole thing with like Alice and Uncas. They have this kind of
there's a subplot love story that's going on. Yeah. Like, Michael Mann, who are you? Who the fuck do you think you are doing this to me? Oh my god. And
so they have a thing. But you could really tell Uncas is like super into her too.
Yeah, and she's just terrified of everything.
She's terrified.
I think he knows that if anybody it's like a little kid in a giant like candy store. If you let go of their hand for just 1 second, they are going to wander off and probably something bad's going to happen. Yeah, and I feel like that's like what Uncas has acknowledged Alice to be. She's very weak. She's very frail and she's terrified. And she's utterly terrified and she cannot defend herself. And I think he just at first takes it upon himself to, watch out for her. But there's obviously something. She's into him, like, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mutual. So then, unfortunately, the Tiki Torch Brigade comes to her, and they do. They have Tiki Torches, and they're like looking for them. And they find them, and they're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And so basically, Hawkeye, Uncas, and Chingachgook, they're like, we gotta go. We have to leave because like they're gonna kill us or whatever. And Duncan's like, no, we have to fight. You're cowards. He's like, you're an idiot.
Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to have a moment with my girl. Oh, was she your girl, Duncan? No, she wasn't. Sorry.
He's like, I promise you, I will find you.
I will find you.
Just survive, live, surrender to them, but survive. You're a survivor. You'll make it.
And it's true because he's like, they're not going to kill you. Like, I think they're not going to kill you. No, because he knows that Magwa's going to have to pay homage and tribute. Yeah. So he's like, chances are they're not going to kill you, but just don't fight back. Don't do it. I think it's called fawning, actually. There's a technical term for it.
So then they leap through the waterfall to escape, and they do that, and they live.
It's just so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah. So do you think? What do you think about this moment? This whole
I will find you.
I will find you, and like
it's what every girl in the it's what every girl in the 17th century wants to hear.
The 17th century. What about 21st century? Does it still work in the 21st century? Does it still?
I mean, I don't know what my circumstances would be for Ryan to be like, I will find you. I'm like, what are we in the grocery store? Like,
right?
No, I don't. I mean,
it would be like a Taken situation.
Oh God. I mean, I think Ryan would find me in a Taken situation, no doubt about it.
I have a specific set of skills.
Yeah, because I would play dead, and I would be like, yeah, do whatever you want. I know someone's gonna come and save me. That's fine. Because I am not I can be scrappy, but I know when I'm beaten. But I mean, if he said in the 21st century, I guess I'd be fine with it. I just don't want to know what the context of it is.
Yeah.
The collapse of Western civilization as we know it.
Yeah, the zombies have come for you.
I do love this scene. It's very dramatic and it's very romantic. And the fact that I don't think if it was any other two actors, I don't think it would have been as good. If this was Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster, who actually do have great chemistry in the movie Maverick, but if this was like Mel Gibson and it was Mel Gibson and Madeleine Stowe, we don't even have to change Madeleine.
Yeah.
If it was Mel Gibson and Madeleine Stowe, I think Mel Gibson has a decent range. I don't think he has Daniel Day-Lewis's range. Oh, and for whatever reason, Daniel Day-Lewis he becomes that person in every role he's in. He's Lincoln, he's Hawkeye. He is all of those dudes. And it's just, I believe it every time he says it. If he can get me to believe it, I'm just like, yeah, he is gonna find her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Also, I'm a trapper. You can read my reviews.
Yeah, exactly. On trapper.com.
He found my bunny in a field, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it was so nice. I was happy. I thought I lost my little bunny, but he got it. Now I'm wearing her.
That's awful, but it's true.
Yeah, right. So the three of them get captured: Cora, Alice, and Duncan. And rightfully, as Hawkeye said, Mongwa takes them to the settlement. And so he's addressing their Sachem, like their chieftain, and he's basically saying like, okay, so yeah, this is what happened to me, and this is what I want as revenge. And so this is what you need to do.
We didn't even mention the revenge, like the actual revenge he gets.
Oh yeah, when
he
like, because like he gets him.
Yeah,
I forgot what exactly happened.
Magua follows through for whatever. So Magua shoots Monroe's horse out from under him. Sad. I don't like seeing horses die.
Yeah.
And the gray hair or Monroe is trapped under the horse and he can't move. And Magua's just like, yo, bro.
Yeah, I'm here.
Just so you know, after you're dead, I'm going to kill your kids. And then cuts his heart out while he's alive.
Yeah, so
we don't see him eat it. We don't see him eat it, but if you pay attention in the following scene when he finds Cora, Duncan, and Alice in the cave, there is blood all over his face.
Yeah.
So you don't see him. You don't see him do it, but he did.
It's like heavily implied that he ate it. He cut it out and ate it.
He follows through. I will give him 5 stars for that on his performance review for follow through.
Yeah,
because that's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, to kill a colonel and eat his heart is very difficult. But he did it. He did it.
It's like, Michael, you want me to do what? Yeah, just hold it. But you do see him holding his heart, and it's very graphic, and there's like the blood like trickles down his like elbow, and he's like, Wes Studi's cut in this movie, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, he looks great.
It's like, ugh.
I mean, look, he went through a lot. He was enslaved. His children died. His wife married someone else. And all he did was eat the dude's heart. Like, I feel like that's...
He's not done yet. I mean, he only did it because I think his plan was to kill Cora and Alice first and then kill the colonel. But he's like, I'm going to take what I can get. I'm going to take what I can get,
Yeah, because, yeah. And then the chieftain kind of makes the same point, in a way.
He's like, dude, you got what you wanted. Like, I don't know why you're like, let him go, man. Not let him go, but no, the chieftain's pretty cool. He's a pretty interesting character. He's got a great face. He's just kind of like, I've been around the block. I gotta have this guy. I gotta listen to Magua again. I gotta listen to Magua talk about his revenge again. It's like, it's been like 20 years, bro.
Yeah,
but he's been listening to this for a while, I feel like.
So, but then Hawkeye walks in unarmed for a parlay, and they attack him. Basically, people beat him up.
I think it's kind of one of those like, if you can get through the mob, then you can talk to the guy in charge, kind of a thing. But no, they kick the shit out of him.
They kick the shit out of him, like straight up.
Yeah.
There's
one guy who runs up to him and just bashes him over the head with something.
Yeah.
There's even an old lady screaming at him.
Yeah. No, they're mad. So Hawkeye like pleads with them, like, hey, don't kill him, blah blah blah. He like tries to kind of give his side of the story, and so basically, the two of them are like arguing about what should happen to these prisoners. And so then the chief rules that Hayward is going to be returned to the British. Alice, the younger one, is going to be given to Magua to right the wrongs that Monroe did. And also, the chief says so that Monroe's seed doesn't die.
I'm not sure why that mattered to him. But
I'll tell you probably why. It's like that must be a thing in their culture. Like that is a to destroy someone's complete family is probably like one of the great sins you can do, which is why Magua wants to do it.
That could be it. That could possibly be a reason. But at the same time, like,
yeah,
she's just gonna have Mogwit's kids. You know what I mean? It's like people, especially in this time period, people always place more value on like the son continuing the lineage rather than a daughter. However, I mean that could be a perfectly good reason as well. But there's one more caveat to this deal.
Oh yeah, and and he also says, and the marriage should heal Magua's heart.
I was just like, the fuck?
Yeah, like, no, I'm not gonna.
I just ate a heart and I'm having a really bad stomach ache.
I need some Pepto. And Korra is to be burned alive for Magua's dead children, and Hawkeye, you can go in peace. It's like, so she's gonna be burned alive, and Hawkeye's like, no, don't burn her alive, don't, just like, I'll take her place. I will take her place. And then so Duncan interprets that to them, and then he says, Duncan, I will take
me.
Place.
I'm a major in the British Army. Like, I'm worth way more. Like, and Magua's super pissed. He's still not happy.
Yeah, Magua's really mad.
And then he still takes out. Like, he's like, I'm mad, but I'm taking this.
yeah. He still takes her.
Well, at that point, she's just a thing. She's not a person.
Well, yeah, she's never treated. Like, there's this great moment that's coming up, and yeah, you can see she's not treated as a human, and she's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a really bad, and so they're burning him alive. They're burning Duncan alive. And Hawkeye and Korra are leaving the village. They're basically going after the rest of, the contingent that left with Alice, because they kind of want to save her. And as an act of mercy, he shoots Hayward before he gets like totally incinerated.
This ending is a trip. Like, this ending is such a trip, because they don't actually even say it, but like Uncas sees that they're taking Alice, and he like pieces out. He like touches he touches Chingachgook's shoulder, and he's like, I gotta go, Dad. Like,
I have to save her.
I have to go, and like, this is not going to be a good end for her at all, because like, what were the chances Magua was going to keep her alive for very long? Probably not that well. Probably not that long. I mean, I'm surprised he just didn't shove her over the side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he was going to do.
Maybe he would have.
I don't know what he was going to do. Not to say that he wouldn't kill her or something, but he's still pissed off because his thing was he wanted to kill both of them.
That's true.
But I don't know what he was going to do. Like what's interesting really is that what Uncas does is like creates this kind of cataclysmic ending, right? They could have maybe come up with a different plan where they decided to try and bargain with him or something.
Let's regroup. Yeah. We'll like surprise him. We'll try and sneak her out or something like that. Yeah. Like, they could have done that, but Uncas is young and
and he sees this woman that he loves in danger, and he's lazy.
And you know what? Maybe he was inspired a little bit by Hawkeye. Maybe he was like, well, he just did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does set off a chain reaction.
Yeah, it sets off a chain reaction in this ending. Yeah.
And then so Chingachgook and Hawkeye and Korra are trying to keep up with Uncas, who has a little bit of a head start.
Yeah, Uncas has a head start.
The scenery where they film this is just like, I can't imagine like the cameraman being like, you want me to put a rig where?
Yeah.
On a cliff face.
They're on the promontory.
Yeah, it's
that's
steep.
where they're at. Yeah, and there's a cliff. And there's a cliff.
There's a cliff feet from you, and it's slippery, and it's again just setting the stage of like an amazing scene.
Yeah. So Uncas races ahead, and he starts fighting these guys and killing them.
Yeah, he's a badass.
And then he gets into a one-on-one fight with Magua, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately for him, he loses the fight. He gets stabbed. I mean, he gets stabbed. Like, they don't really show it. But yeah, he gets shanked.
You hear it.
Yeah. You can tell he's like carving him up while he stabbed him. Yeah, it's real bad. And then Magua throws him off a cliff. He throws him off the promontory, and he just falls. And we see a body. Like, they made up a fake body to throw down this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They legitimately did that. So, and he's trying to save Alice, and he dies. And then we get this other moment where like Alice is kind of like backing towards the cliff, and Magua just like puts his hand out to her. He doesn't say anything to her. He's like, "No, you need to come here."
He's like, "Come here," and his hand is literally just covered in blood. He's like, "Come on."
Yeah, and she just backs away off the cliff and falls to her death. She commits suicide. And they all, the others, Hawkeye and Korra and Chingak-kook, they all see these things happen, and they're like pissed and devastated. They're pissed. And so then they full on engage, and we get this massive fight at the end where they're taking out all these people. And Hawkeye shoots a bunch of them and all this stuff.
He's covering his dad's ass. Yeah.
He's covering him.
Nah, this is Dad's battle.
Yeah. And so then he gets into this fight. He fights Magua one-on-one. And we get this like this fight is like really good. Like yeah. And yeah, he's just a little bit more skilled. And he's
pissed. He's pissed.
I don't know what weapon he has, but he like.
There's an actual name for it. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but you don't want to get hit with that thing.
No, it's almost like they took like the head of an elk or something, like the antler of an elk, and turned it into some like weapon. But anyway, he gets smacked in the face with that and flies off the cliff and dies. That's how Magua. That's his demise. Yeah, so what do you think? Like, what was your favorite part? Like, what were your feelings? Just tell me your feelings about
there's so many feelings to have during this climax. I don't know where the climax really begins. I think it kind of begins when you hear the drum beat after when after Hawkeye's just like, "Did you tell him?" And Duncan's like, "Yeah." Because there's so much going on in this climax, because I feel like Duncan's finally just like, "You know what? You took my girl. My career is pretty much ruined. Yeah. You're not going to take this from me. I'm the one who's going to make the ultimate sacrifice.
I'm the honorable one."
Yeah. I don't know if it's something that like, maybe it's because he's like, "I loved her first" or something, but I think it's just, he's not doing it for Hawkeye. He doesn't give a shit about him.
It's about her.
It's about her. He's just like, "No, you don't get to take this from me. If anyone's going to die for her, it's going to be me." And Duncan, Hawkeye's shocked by that. He's just like, he's shook. He's just like, "No, that's not what I told you to say." God damn it. And then you have everything, with like Uncas going after his girl, and obviously it doesn't work out. And Alice finally making a decision about her own well-being, even though it is to end her own life. She does not want that life. And if this is her only way out, then she's finally going to do something about it. Come here. And it's just, you have a mercy kill, a suicide, a revenge killing. I feel like I'm missing something in there, but there's a lot and just a straight up murder that happens. That's 4 main characters that die all within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the people that Hawkeye kills on the way up.
Yeah.
It's a very
people get sniped.
It's a very intense ending, and it's not like, and the main character, our main hero, isn't even the one who kills the villain. You know what I mean? Which is also kind of not subverting expectations, but it's not what we're expecting, but it's the most appropriate way, because Magua doesn't really do anything personal to Hawkeye. Except kill his brother. But I don't think he's not aware that they're brothers.
No, he's just some dude, like, oh, some angry dude. Okay, I'll kill him.
Yeah, so there's really no reason for Hawkeye. Chingak-kook has more of a reason. The father should be the one to kill the guy who killed his kid. Because isn't that what Magua was trying to do the whole time? Just 2 sides of a different coin. Or of the same coin.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Very poetic.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you were on this revenge killing to kill the guy who ruined your life, and now it's coming. What goes around comes around. Magua.
Yeah. The revenge. He should have just put the revenge away, but he couldn't.
Yeah,
he couldn't do it. So yeah, afterwards, Chingak and Hawkeye, they pray to the Great Spirit to receive Uncas, and he says, I'm the last of the Mohicans, basically, and they play that music, and we see the yeah, and we see the basically the thing that the film opened with. Like, we see the frontier, and yeah, and that's it. That's the end. So yeah, does this film still hold up?
Yeah. Yeah. It'll hold up. It's held up 30 something years later. It's gonna give me another 30 years. I'll still be watching and loving this movie.
I think it's 30 this year. What was the release date?
It's probably I think it's probably 30.
I'm not sure what the release date is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 30. September 25th, 92.
I was 2 years old and I've been watching it ever since. I probably should not have been watching this movie when I was so young, but I used to play Last Mohicans in my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean,
compared to Braveheart, this movie is like PG.
Braveheart's the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of because I feel like this is PG-13, right?
I don't know. I mean, the violence is fairly. I mean, the violence is used appropriately.
Oh, it's rated R.
It's not gratuitous, and the sex scene is tame by today's standards, in my opinion. You don't even see anybody's butt, but you know what I mean. Like,
right?
By today's standards, they would have been completely buck-ass naked.
Well, to be honest, by the 90s was the erotic thriller era.
Ugh, God.
The single white female and
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, where
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, they were pumping them out. They were like, "Ooh, sex sells. Let's start selling it."
I mean, it sells, but do you want to buy it? I don't. Yeah. Personally, I mean, I did like Single White Female. That movie scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, yeah. I showed it to some of my friends, and some of them really liked it. They hadn't seen it. Because that's just I don't know. I feel like, you grew up in the 90s. You just oh yeah, that movie.
You've seen at least one of them. Yeah, you've seen at least one of them.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy white girl becomes obsessed. Yeah.
Did you know Bridget Fonda is married to Danny Elfman? Because
no,
I discovered that a few months ago and it blew my freaking mind. I'm just like, what? I would never have ever, if I was thinking of who Bridget Fonda was married to, I'd be like, yeah, probably some stockbroker or an executive or maybe a movie producer or something. It's like, Danny Elfman? She's got to be weird. She's got to be weird if she's married to Danny Elfman.
Well, he's a legit rock star. He's a legit rock star.
He's a rock star, dude.
He's a rock star. I mean,
he
was in a rock band. Yeah,
he does all of the singing in Nightmare Before Christmas. Chris Sarandon just did the 5 lines that they needed. Danny Elfman really did. He was composing and singing. It's just what a lovely voice.
Yeah. I mean, he is legitimately a rock star. So I can kind of see that.
Okay, I guess I can kind of see it. She's you're a rock star.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you this. So here's the thing. When we live in the world where, Pete Davidson is dating every woman who's over 40 who's attractive. I'm over being shocked by said person's dating said person.
Fair. I think it was.
I see the point you're making. It is kind of oh, that's a. But she hasn't been in anything in
No, she was in a horrible car accident.
Yeah.
She almost died.
Yeah, real unfortunate situation.
She's a Fonda though. She's gonna be fine.
Well, yeah, she's married to Danny Elfman.
That is also royal. The Fondas are royalty.
Yeah, the Fondas are royalty.
Maybe more so back then, but they were definitely celebrity royalty for sure.
Yeah.
Or Gwyneth Paltrow's parents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just to come full circle.
The Downies.
Downies, yeah, they've had their ups and downs.
Well, I mean, that's when you know that you're kind of a royal, where you can oh yeah, I was self-destructive But I had
went
a
to prison.
comeback. Yeah, I went to prison.
That could never have happened nowadays. Robert Downey Jr. could never have rebounded if this happened in 2020. I don't think so.
Probably. The only advantage is that it depends on how. Because look, there are some people, I forget, Lakeith Stanfield. This dude every couple months goes on social media and it's some red flag city. You know, he did one post where he was like showing his prescription drugs and like basically implying that he was gonna commit suicide. I feel like the self-destructive stuff people are more willing to sort of forgive.
They really shouldn't, though.
It's when someone does things to other people, the Ezra Miller type stuff, where you're assaulting people, attacking people, home
kidnapping
invasions.
people.
Yeah, kidnapping people. That's the stuff where it's like, okay, now you're a danger. But it was hard to. I mean, it was very hard for him to become Iron Man.
That's very
true. He basically
true.
needed like multiple people in the room advocating for him, and
yeah,
he almost wasn't.
He did a couple things before Iron Man. He needed to rebuild his credit. You know what I mean? He did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is phenomenal. He did one movie, I think, where he was actually playing someone in an asylum. I can't remember. It was like they was trying to do like a film noir thing. I don't think it did very well.
Yeah.
And he had to rebuild his cred. He had
that was a big, like you said, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, because he was friends with what's his name, the guy who was the writer director. I forget his name.
Was it Shane Black?
Yeah, Shane Black. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and Shane Black was his friend, and so that was like a huge. And that movie didn't do well, but like that really helped bring his career back, and he did him a solid by bringing him in on Iron Man 3 to direct that. So, like he had so many, people who were like advocating for him. Like if he didn't, he would have, he probably would have been what's his name? Tom Cruise would have been Iron Man.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. And I think, honestly, people are always saying, like, well, you have to prove that you've gotten better. You have to prove this or that. Like, okay, well, first of all, nowadays, you're not giving anyone any time to get better at all. You just want them to get canceled, and on an anonymous username, you're telling them to unalive themselves.
Yeah.
You don't actually want anyone to get better. You want them to stay canceled. I think Robert Downey Jr. has proven that he's gotten better and that he's a better person, and that he can not only just still act, but make better life choices. And I think that's something to be celebrated, personally. I think growth and improvement and acknowledging, I've made some really terrible mistakes, and being very open about it is very commendable, personally. I don't think we give people nearly enough time to get better. We just want them to feel like shit all the time now, and then promote mental health. And it's like, you don't actually give a fuck, so shut up.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
Like when people when every 3 months or so people try and cancel Chris Pratt over the dumbest fucking shit because he's cast in a movie because he's a bankable person or a bankable actor. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. No one's calling for Tom Cruise to be canceled, and he's part of a way worse community. Well, and is essentially the head of Scientology, or the poster child for Scientology, and is up David Miscavige's ass. But no one's calling for him to be canceled. So that's really interesting. Meanwhile, Chris Pratt is a diet-like Christian good old boy.
Right? It's so strange. I just think that, like, and this is kind of the problem with the internet, is like there's this hive mind effect where it's like people just have a hate boner for him. And it's what sucks is like, what's it saying? Like a lie can spread around the world 10 times before the truth can catch up to it. Like these false ideas about people can spread so quickly, and once they spread, that's it. Like people just like hate him because of like people made up stuff. Basically, they said, "Oh yeah, well he's a Christian fundamentalist."
It's like maybe he joined a church without doing his research. You know how many people join churches without doing their research on them?
Yeah.
So any person who joins a Catholic church is automatically a pedophile?
Yeah, right? Like, and that's like billions of people.
It's like, and then he just said
some stuff like very like random stuff about like he posted a picture with his wife and his child, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of my wife for like giving birth to our child." It's like, "Oh well, he just wants his wife to be in the kitchen.
He must hate his son with Anna Faris because he said he's happy to have a healthy child." It's like, no, that's what any parent says when their wife gives birth. That's what they should say. It's like when literally they were trying to cancel him over the fact that he said he was happy he had a healthy child.
It's psychotic. It's psychotic, man. It's psychotic.
It's like, what is wrong with you? I have known Christians in my personal life who are worse than Chris Pratt could ever be. I would rather get a drink with Chris Pratt than if someone was just like, Tom Cruise will take you to the top of the Empire State Building. I'm like, yeah, and shove me off. Because he can and get it, because he can get away with it. No, I'd rather go and I would rather go and talk to Chris Pratt. I would rather spend time with Chris Pratt than if I was to win, like going to a premiere with Tom Cruise. Yeah. Like that sounds horrifying to me personally. So
yeah, I don't know. And it's just it's a weird thing. It's the internet is a weird place full of people that need to touch grass. Honestly.
Yeah, they're psychotic, and I don't know why people invest themselves. Like, obviously, I know a lot about the royal family. I would rather not know. I don't know why. I find it interesting, but I don't know why people invest their whole lives, their whole screen names, their whole Twitter profiles to hating one person.
Yeah.
It just doesn't click with me. And I don't know how people just spend so much time doing that. Like that's so much time to invest of your life into just hate. And it's just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand either. But, c'est la vie. All right, well, so that was our diatribe here. Our discussion of Last of the Mohicans. Appreciate everybody checking it out. I think the next thing we'll talk about will be the Lord of the Rings.
Ciao.
And the Fellowship of the Ring.
Ciao.
All right, so until then, take care, and may the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.